Good evening, everyone. Good evening. Thank you so much for joining. For those of you that are joining on the website, YouTube, and Facebook, YouTube fam, let me know if you can hear us, and let us know in the chat where you are, how your day's been. We're going to get started in a few moments. Hopefully you can hear us. Thank you so much for joining this evening. Before we jump in, as always, please do like, share, subscribe to the channel, share this tonight's stream with a friend, family member, get it on your WhatsApp, you get it on your Instagram, your Twitter, share it out. We're gonna have a fantastic evening with our awesome panel here. So I'm Rochelle, I'm gonna be hosting today. I'm on the WT team, our careers team. And before we jump in, I just wanna lead us in a short prayer and ask God to go ahead of us in today's panel. So in Jesus' name. Thank you, Lord Father, for bringing us here together. We thank you for everyone on this panel. We thank you for everyone that will be touched by today's word and touched by everyone that is speaking today, dear Lord Father in heaven. We pray this is useful, insightful. We ask you to go ahead of us, and we pray it will bless many people of all ages and of all backgrounds, dear Lord Father in heaven. So thank you for this day. Thank you for this evening. And we just bless your holy name. Amen. Amen. So thank you all for joining. Today's session is all around talking about non-traditional roles, the non-traditional 9 to 5. And we've got an amazing, amazing, amazing panel. I'm really excited to have a chat with them today and share that all with you. So I'm going to start with some introductions. So I'm going to go to Gina first. Gina, tell us a little bit about yourself and what you do. Oh, you're on mute.
Sorry. Hi guys, my name is Gina. I'm a personal trainer, online fitness coach, and a content creator.
Awesome. Thank you, Gina. And Wale, over to you. Tell us a bit about yourself. You're on mute as well.
Hi guys, my name is Wale. I'm a builder, carpenter, and a project manager.
Awesome. And Pachalo, over to you.
Hello everyone, I'm Pachalo Mauluka and I run a housekeeping company.
Awesome. Thank you all for joining us. And I love, you did very short intros, but we're going to get into what you do because I was like, this is a very small part of what you do. So I'm going to come back to you, Pachalo, and tell us a little bit about your journey to where you are today and your housekeeping business.
Okay, so during COVID, I actually worked for a different job. It was a full-time job and I was made redundant from that. And from there, I literally just had to get on my feet, adapt and adjust. I had a friend that said, you know what, I've started a cleaning company if you'd like to come along. However, a few weeks later, because I was still looking for recruitment, I got employed by a higher paying job, but I fully missed what I was doing in cleaning, where I came to my beautician and told her, you know what, I want to pursue this, and started basically finding different clients. And ever since then, I've had to take it on full time.
Amazing. And I just want to touch on, there's a few things you said in there around people that you connected with along the way. And I think networking is a key part of, I think, all of your journeys. And we'll get to that as we speak to each and every one of you. But when you were kind of actively looking and you were like, this is not for me, what was kind of going through your mind? What was that push that pushed you into, actually, I'm going to go into this full time?
It was the freedom to choose what you want to be doing, having the headspace to just be free. Because during COVID, I think everybody was quite closed down. So when I came to doing my housekeeping company, I choose the hours that I choose, the clients that I choose to do, and it also lets you learn and also have a different routine, such as fitness. I wanted to have time to go to the gym, so it was perfect for me and it just really fitted me personally.
Great. Thank you so much. I'm going to come back to you, but you mentioned fitness, so it kind of makes an obvious segue for me to come to you, Gina. Tell us a bit about your journey. And I know I was discussing this with the team. I was like, you've kind of gone from, I tagged it, probation officer to pull-ups, and that's a bit cheesy, but tell us a bit about your journey.
My journey is a bit long, so I'm going to try and make it really short. So 2013, so I came out of a bad relationship and was kind of going through depression, and fitness was like my form of therapy. So anyone who knew me from before knew that exercise wasn't my thing. Like I was a person who used to like forge their mum's signature to say that I can't do PE when I was in school because I just the thought of being active was just not me. So for some reason, whilst I was going through depression, I feel like God put it on my heart for me to start going for runs. And I say that because obviously, again, I wasn't someone who came from a fitness background. So I didn't understand why it was so heavy on my heart to start running. But I started running and I found it very therapeutic. And it kind of just became like my go-to thing whenever I felt like I was stressed or I needed to kind of like release or anything related to like my emotions. I just kind of started exercising and then joined social media. And I guess at the time I joined Instagram, people weren't putting up gym stuff. I guess it was kind of rare to see Black women in fitness. So that's the kind of stuff that I posted. And I guess I kind of gained a lot of traction that way. But I was still working a full-time job. So it was something that I did on the side. And I realized that I became really passionate about fitness and kind of was at work, wasn't doing my job. So, you know, when you've got like a screen and then like when someone walks past, you bring it up to act like you're actually working, but really and truly you're doing your own stuff in the background. So that's kind of how it got to. And then I realized that I became very, very passionate about fitness. And then just, I guess, was waiting for the right time to leave and take the plunge. And then I eventually did. And just through the years, I've been able to kind of build this fitness empire. And yeah, that's about it in a nutshell.
Love it. And thank you for being so candid and open with us about your journey as well, because sometimes it's doing the things that we least like to do or think that we're not good at or not for us that can actually propel us into our purpose as such, and like say building this amazing empire. What else would you say kind of helped push you and make that change? What was the moment that you're like, actually no, I need to go and do this full time?
So I kind of, when I started realizing that I was very kind of unfulfilled at work, that was one of the things. And then I got confirmation from two different people. So it's something that I was thinking about and I was praying on it, but I just never spoke about it publicly. And then I had two different people come to me. So one was my client, and she said she had a dream, and in the dream, she used like a metaphor with training, and she was like, I was in a dream, and basically God was telling her to tell me that whatever it was that I was thinking about doing, I should just take the plunge and do it, and I shouldn't be scared. So that came from her, and then it came from my other friend, and it was like I couldn't ignore it, even though in my head I knew I wanted to do it, but I was kind of finding excuses not to do it. The fact that I got confirmation from two people that I hadn't told, it just kind of made me realize, okay, cool, you know what? I just need to stop being scared and take the plunge.
Wow, that intervention and I'm sure we've all been there, where you kind of you it's the voice of God, but you're waiting for that confirmation or affirmation, and for it to come in such a way must have been so powerful. Thank you for sharing that with us, and I'm going to come back to you on that a little bit later. Wale, over to you. Tell us a little bit about your journey, because I know that you gave a very short intro around you. I know you do carpentry, building. The list is long, so tell us a little bit more about what you do and how you got into it as well.
So I first started out as a laborer. This was about, I'd say, over 10 years ago, under Wale Edun. He actually comes to the church as well. So worked under him. He basically taught me everything I know. So I didn't have to go to college for it. We've done about, I'd say, over 200 properties, from the high end to the mid-range tier, all that sort of stuff. And it basically started out when I was in school. I couldn't go to uni because I had immigration issues. So I had to kind of find what I want to do. So in the midst of searching for that, he approached me. And to be honest, it wasn't my first choice of things to do. But as I carried on, went into it, and now started loving it. And the funny thing is, I went to check a job today, a flooring job. And I happened to be the person that laid the flooring 10 years ago. So the woman wants to do it. Yeah, this was, I think, on Tuesday. Yeah, yesterday. Yeah. So it just made me realize how far I've come. So yeah.
Amazing. And two questions for you. You said it wasn't your first choice. So what do you remember? What was your first choice, and why? What was your first choice? Tell us a little bit about it.
I wanted to be a I wanted to be a trader
Mhm.
because I did financial studies in school, and also because I kind of had two things: either be a trader or do something related to IT, because I loved computers, and also I loved working with numbers and accounts. So those were my two options.
Right.
But as God would have it, I got, passed down this route, which has been great so far.
Definitely. And for us on the panel today, and actually for those at home, you talked about you do some high end work and you do some mid range. Give us the numbers, because I've heard the numbers are they're pretty good. So let's shout about it.
Okay, so we've done projects in Fulham, property value probably around about 3 million, complete renovation, like stripped down to the bricks, new roof, underfloor heating. The tiles got flown in from Italy.
Wow.
Furniture. So that cost around, I'd say probably around 400 for the whole renovation.
Wow.
And also we do, we've actually just finished a conversion right now. It's we converted it into 2 bedrooms. That was about, the total cost of that renovation was 70.
Wow.
Yeah, the clients more value in terms of what they could command in the rental market.
Amazing. Thank you so much for sharing with us. And something key you said there is around adding value. And all of you have also shared a little bit around how the people around you have really kind of supported you or helped you make the decisions to get you into the careers that you are in now. So Pachal, I want to come back to you a little bit around your turning point. And I'm sure many people can relate to what you went through in terms of perhaps losing their role during COVID, or being on furlough and trying to just get through that period. So what were some of the kind of things that you did to kind of help push you through that period, that you could share, maybe tips and advice for people who may have been in a similar position to yourself?
For myself, I tried to do my best to keep a routine. So I'd wake up, I'd do my best to have a good breakfast. I would exercise. I think going outside was the main thing that helped me. And also reading and not taking it too hard on yourself, because you have to understand everybody's got a journey and it's just not only you. So it's a little bit better. It's like sharing a cake,
Yeah.
Everybody's going to put on some weight, so it's okay. So
love that. Thank you for sharing that with us. And a question for all of you, and Pachala, stick with you for now. When you were kind of obviously considering going into these non-traditional roles, not the 9 to 5, doing the commute, and you began, I guess, telling your family and friends about it, what was their reaction? Because if we can, let's be real, in the Black community, people were saying, okay, we want you to be a lawyer, need you to be a doctor. Those kind of traditional roles are very instilled in a lot of our culture. So when we're now pivoting to something completely different, and for some they might be like, why would you do this? What were their reactions, and how did you handle those?
So when I told my family, everybody was actually very excited for me.
Oh, that's amazing.
It's nice to know that, in my family, movement is important, and it's always about moving forward, enjoying and experiencing life. So it's quite light for me, because in my family, there's no one that has the same profession. So yeah, I've got siblings that are in mechanical engineering, another sister's in HR. My brother, he's in sports science. My little sister, she's in drama. And for example, my little sister, she specialized in biomedical science, and told my mother, I'm going to do drama. And my mom was so proud. So it's that kind of thing of always embrace and don't be too hard on yourself in life, because we only, have one journey, and it's best just to stay light and push and learn. So it was quite easy for me.
Oh, I'm glad to hear it. And thank you for sharing that. And I love to hear kind of the diversity of the roles in your family. And it touches on something Pastor Femi mentioned on Sunday service around, not being a copycat and staying in your lane is really important, and knowing and understanding what your gifts are and how to best use them is really, really important. Gina, I'll come to you. What was your kind of family and friends' reactions? I know you shared a bit about your friends obviously helping confirm that this is the route for you, but what else? What did other people say, and how did they support you?
I think with my mum, the main issue is money in it. So with every African parent, it's about how you're going to survive. And it was like you're leaving your 9 to 5 to be a gym instructor. Like it just didn't make any sense to her. But I think my mum is very supportive though, and she knows I'm extremely passionate about what I do. So to be honest, when I first decided to kind of quit, she just was like, do you know what? I support what you're doing, but just make sure you have a plan. And I guess when she started seeing the fruits of my labor, um, she just got it, if that makes sense. Like it was confirmation from her that I was doing the right thing. And with my brothers, um, they're quite entrepreneurial, so they understood it. But again, the main thing was planning. So do you have a plan B? Do you have savings? And I guess those are the things that I was considering before I even quit my job anyway. So when it came to kind of like those questions, I had all the answers already. So yeah, it wasn't as hard as I thought it would be. I mean, obviously some people do obviously question your decisions and stuff, but I guess one of the main things I had to keep reminding myself was it's no one else's vision or dream. So even if they don't understand, they're not meant to. So it was just about if I was confident in what I was doing and I had the confirmation, I didn't really care about anybody else's opinion, to be fair.
I love that. Love that. And you touched on something really important there around savings and preparation, actually, not just savings, preparation in terms of, like you say, what's my plan A, plan B, plan C, what's my contingency. So I'll also take this moment to plug our WT Legacy team who support people across savings, getting out of debt. So do head to WT's website to explore what the WT Legacy team do. And also just to add, if you have any questions, please post them on YouTube and Facebook, and the team will moderate and bring them through so we can ask the panel as well. So do post your questions. Thank you so much, Gina. Wale, over to you. What was your kind of friends and family's reaction? Because you're going from trading to being a labourer. What was that like?
For my mom, it was kind of a shock, really, because she's a Nigerian mom, so I wasn't going down the typical route. And for my friends, they were off at uni. Do you understand? I had immigration issues. I couldn't go, so I was more at home. But I think she was a little bit happy that I was going out to do something. And as soon as, like Gina said, as soon as she started seeing the fruits of my labor, she started to, become happier to the point where she would actually recommend me to some of her friends. Yeah, so it was very once it got to that part, it was a lot better.
Awesome. And just talking on that, actually, we've had a question through actually already. Thank you for this question. Whoever posted this is, what is pay like in carpentry? Are you able to give any insights or ballpark figures on that part of your role?
Yeah, I'd say carpentry for beginners, I would say probably around between 20 to 30K. And that figure goes up the more you develop your skills.
Right.
Some carpenters earn around 40 to 50. So it all depends on how skilled you are, how good your job is. So that's why you have to keep learning and have that enthusiasm for it.
Yeah, love that. Thank you so much. Now, Gina, I'm going to come back to you because you've talked a little bit about kind of your faith already, but not just from, I guess, the start of your journey, but how has your faith helped you throughout your journey, and seeing your brand or your empire, I love that, as you like to call it, seeing that grow. How has faith played a role there?
It's definitely played a massive role because the road hasn't been easy. The journey hasn't been straightforward, and I've had like tosses and turns along the way. But then it's weird because even on this talk, when I just finished speaking, I literally reflected and was like, wow, like God is really amazing, because you kind of forget those things happen because they were so long ago. But as I'm speaking, it's reminding me that I'm where I'm meant to be and I'm doing what I'm meant to be doing, if that makes sense. So I've always had to continuously remind myself of those things when times get really, really hard, and understand and appreciate that nothing worth having comes easy. And obviously, because I got the confirmation from before, I have to kind of continue to rely on that, even when times get hard, to know that, okay, I'm actually doing what I'm meant to be doing. And obviously, this is just part of the journey.
Love that. It plays such an important part, like you say, in the ups and the downs. And it's like, and I think what you mentioned before is that conviction that you have, and I think that seems to play a big part in how you think about your journey, how the decisions you make, putting God first in those decisions as well. And one thing I want to touch on, because I do follow you on socials, I remember you posted around like something your mum had written down.
Yeah.
Do you mind sharing a little bit about that?
Yeah, no. So at the beginning of the year, my mum had like different prayer points for each of her kids, but she didn't tell us what those prayer points were. So in November, I got a partnership deal with Gymshark. So we did like a really massive campaign, and thank you. And the thing was, her prayer point was for me to have a long-term partnership with them. So when I got the job, she only told me afterwards, and then showed me because she wrote it down. So she sent me the picture of, because she was in Ghana at the time. So she sent me the picture of the prayer point, and it was so amazing because it was like she manifested that, she prayed for that, and it came to pass. Amazing. And she didn't tell me in the process, she didn't tell me when she done it, but it's like when it came to pass, she was just like, listen, this is what I've been doing like behind closed doors for you. So like even with things like that, it's a constant reminder that like it's only by God's grace that I'm even here to be able to do half the things that I'm doing.
Yeah. Amazing. Thank you so much for sharing that with us. I remember that and I was like, it's so important to have, yes, people are praying, mothers and fathers and guardians, but also in our friendship groups as well, having that support network as well. So Pachala, I'll come to you. How has your faith played a role, especially during, I know you mentioned a little bit around during the pandemic, but how has it played a role, I guess, as you set off from, working with your neighbor to now owning your own business?
Oh, that's a question.
We've got time. It's okay.
I just think I've just followed a path, an unknown path, but I've just led myself forward, and everyone around me have just pushed, knowingly or unknowingly. I think it's just literally been a push. And if I open my eyes now, I'm literally looking around like, how did I get here so quickly?
That and I'm going to link it to what Jean was saying around having God in the race. Were there any times where you weren't sure, or you had to turn to God a little bit harder to think about, okay, what am I going to do next? Like, is this sustainable? How am I going to keep going? What was your kind of thought process then?
If you say financially, I am absolutely one to not even look at the finances. I don't really worry too much. I believe that before me, behind me, beside me, above me, and underneath me, God has got me regardless. So any choice or decision I push myself forward to, which is something I'm known to do, having the confidence to push yourself in a position into a room, that's the way I am. So if you was to say again, financially, I do not put that as a limitation. Socially, I don't put it as a limitation, or even, people thinking, oh my goodness, you're going to do this. Yes, I am. That's just the way I am.
Love that. What encouraging word would you give to someone who may not have that confidence just yet? How would you encourage them to build up that confidence and that self-belief that, I can do it because God's got me, like say he's on all sides? Yeah. What other words would you use to encourage them?
I would literally say definitely take one step at a time. I would say definitely put yourself around people that are actively in that world, and you don't have to push yourself until you're ready. I think everybody will receive a sign, and that's literally it. You gain the skills whilst being in that environment, and by the time you know it, you are swimming with the big fish. So
love that. Thank you so much. Well, I'm going to come to you, and I guess the question is still the same for you around how has your faith helped you, but working with Uncle Collar, who you mentioned, who is he's such a warrior. He does so much at WT for WT. So I know having that support system is amazing, but how, I guess, having Uncle Collar as, someone that you work so closely with and see probably a lot of the time with your faith, how has that really supported and helped you?
It's been very, very helpful, and Collar and his family, they are like amazing people. I can't speak any like words. I can't find the words to describe them, because they took me in as he's taken me as a brother, looked after me, making sure I had whatever I needed, even when as far as buying me some of my tools when I started, little stuff here and there, just to kind of support me. And also, whenever I was feeling down, he would always take the time out to talk to me. Even in the middle of work, he would stop everything and just say, yo, let's have a chat, because all this can be gone tomorrow. Like, what we have is each other. So he really took the time out to kind of take me under his wing, showed me everything he knows, and looked after me and my family. Even he was very, very instrumental. If not for him, my wife and myself wouldn't have bought a house, because he really pushed us. Like him, Brother Michael as well, and Pastor Ty. They've been really, really instrumental in my journey. Without those people, yeah, I wouldn't be here. Yeah.
Love that. Thank you for being so open and honest with us about that, and about, like you're saying, having that support system to get to where you are today, and how it supports you and your family. And I think there's a key piece, and we've had a few questions around, finances, and what does that look like? And I think you've all touched on key points to say, it's having that confidence in your gift, and also knowing that, okay, nothing that comes so easily is kind of worth having. I think that's the phrase. You've got to kind of keep at it. You've got to work hard for it. And again, it's you also spoke about, Wale, how your mum was referring you. And I think a big piece around these non-traditional roles is down to kind of relationships as well. It's down to those relationships you build with your clients, the people that you may see on socials, things like that seem to play a really important part. So Gina wanted to come to you. We had a question around on that piece around content creation and socials. And I know many people may know that, unfortunately, Black women in the kind of content creator world don't always get the pay, the support that they deserve. So what was that journey like for you? And the question more specifically is, like, how long did it take you to establish yourself and really start making money from it, if you're open to sharing that with us or around that?
No, yeah, sure. So you're right in terms of not being paid your worth, and getting the short straw. I guess for me, I think I really realized it when so I have an agent now, and she's Black, Nigerian. Absolutely love her, and she's been such a godsend, because prior to her, I was getting like odd jobs here and there from brands reaching out to me, and I guess I didn't know my worth, or I didn't know how much I could demand in my space, because I wasn't having conversations with people in my field who were doing brand work, and it wasn't something that was common. So I remember on Twitter, her full-time job is she works for a social media marketing company. So that's a full-time job. So she was looking for talent for a campaign. And so I think a few people kind of retweeted her post and told me to contact her. So I did. And then she asked me to send her my rate card. So I sent her my rate card, and she came back and was like, let me know if I'm overstepping any boundaries, but you're really selling yourself short. The slavery days are over. And I was so shocked, because she was just like, sis, do you know how much is in your industry? Like, the industry you're in has a lot of money. Brands are paying people a lot of money to do the things that you're doing. So you can't be asking for them for this much. It's actually a joke. So she kind of rejigged my rate card and told me what she thought I should be charging. And again, I didn't have the confidence to ask or demand. I just felt like, I just felt really shy. And then after that, we just started working on a full-time basis. So she started to represent me. And with her representing me, the increase in terms of finances that I've been able to kind of like secure has been absolutely crazy. And with her, because obviously she's a Black woman, she understands the struggle. So she really pushes me hard, and she would never allow me to accept a job that she doesn't believe is worth it. And she always gives me the option to turn it down. So she'll let me know, you know what, I don't think this is a great offer, but ultimately the decision is yours. But since having her, I've been working with her for over 2 years now, and it's been a massive kind of shift in terms of the amount of money that I've been able to get. But I feel like with content creation, times have changed in comparison to how it was before. So it's not like it's hit and miss, but it's with a lot of brands now also, they don't really care about the really big really big influencers. I think now the focus is more on like micro influencers. So the key thing is engagement. It's about how you engage with your audience and whether your audience actually engage with you. So they don't even care if you've got like 100K followers. It's just about whether your audience actually have a relationship with you, and if when you put content out, people actually engage with you. So I think if you are trying to be a content creator, that should kind of be your main focus, as opposed to kind of like getting the numbers, if that makes sense. It's about having like a solid core audience that actually kind of respect you and taking what you do.
Love that. Thank you. Thank you for sharing that with us. And it's so good to see and hear from you all around how, especially from Wale and Gina so far, around how your managers or people that you work with have also been mentors as well. And like you say, asking those questions, am I okay to ask this of you and share with you that actually you are worth way more. You can do so much more, and it's really empowering to hear that. Pajalo, what was that like for you, I guess, with your neighbor, kind of introducing you into this kind of world of work? How did they support and help you? Can you give us a bit more detail and insight into that?
Yeah, sure. So he was just literally a neighbor that knew me and heard that I got made redundant. And because of my previous jobs, I've done a lot of hospitality. So he was like, let me give you a chance. And from there, my demand just grew. Clients were only wanting Pachalo. So that was kind of something that I was learning, and we were also learning together because he only just started that business himself. So it was really nice to have someone where you can enjoy, okay, look, this cloth is amazing. That's the kind of things that we'll discuss. But yeah.
Love that. And how has it been, I guess, from flipping from, having that person manage you to now you managing your business? And share with us, if you employ people, you have people that work with you and for you, how has that pivot and shift been for you?
Okay, so at this moment in time, my availability is not available for a very long time. I'm very much booked up
Booked and
the rest
busy.
of
We
the
love it.
year. Yeah, so at the moment, I'm looking to employ, and I'm currently training. It's going
Right.
to be quite a while of training because I'm kind of teaching them the attention to detail. Sometimes people think, oh yes, I have this skill. I have to show that you have to have patience and you have to step back. So it's nice. Now I'm the kind of person showing them how to do it, and it's all really exciting.
Love that. Love that. Thank you. Thank you all for sharing an insight so far. And just to remind people, you continue to ask questions. I can see some of them coming through and we will get to them. So keep sharing keep asking your questions and share this with friends and family as well. It's so good to see lots of you engaging in the chat on YouTube in particular. Now, when we talked a little bit around kind of that family and friend kind of support that you've all had actually, and that might not be necessarily what everyone has the privilege to experience. So in terms of your journey, what has been the biggest challenge for you all? So Wale, I'll go to you first. What has been your biggest challenge, I guess, in your career journey, and how did you overcome it as well?
My biggest challenge was people paying me my worth. That's been my biggest challenge, because I've had people say, oh, I'm not paying you that much. Like, you're just a carpenter, or builders they only use their hands, they don't use their brain. So just kind of getting looked down on. That's been my biggest challenge. And luckily for me, I've got quite a strong network of people. They constantly motivate me, encourage me, and they tell me to keep pushing on. And yeah, so they've been amazing.
Love that. And I think that's really key actually. It's knowing, when to turn things down and when to say, you know what, no, actually, as amazing as a job that it may be, you know what your worth is, you know what the gifts that you've been given and the skills and talent that you have as well. So that's really really encouraging. Gina, what about for yourself? What has been your biggest challenge in your career so far?
I think confidence, and imposter syndrome. I think sometimes you get into your head, and I feel like for me, because the space I'm in is unknown territory in regards, there's not like, it's only now that it's become a lot more popular, but I feel like in the UK in particular, there's not many Black women at the level of where everyone's trying to go. So it's dealing with that issue of, am I even really meant to be here? And why is there no one else to hear, or why has no one even got there before me? Like, there's been so many hurdles. So it has, you know, allowed me to question myself a lot, and obviously it has had a knock on my confidence. But I guess faith is what's kept me going, to be fair. And if I'm honest, I couldn't see myself doing anything else. And I'm so passionate about what I do that regardless of whatever happens, I'm kind of just like, well, this is what you've kind of set out to do. So you have to see it to the end.
Love that.
And I guess also for me, it's not even about me. I guess this whole thing's become more about the people after me and my community. So encouraging and inspiring other Black women to know that they can, you know, they can do what I'm doing and enter in these spaces and get to work with brands to this kind of level, regardless of their background, where they're from, what they look like, etc., etc.
Love that. Thank you so much. And I want to just, Pachala, I'll come to you in a moment. I just want to kind of touch on a question actually that came in, Gina, that I think relates to kind of what you shared around that confidence and managing the imposter syndrome. What tips would you give your younger self and actually those watching about stepping out in faith and just and building that confidence to do what you are called to do? What tip would you, for you, Gina, sorry, what tip would you give your younger self to just step out in faith, maybe step out in faith sooner? What would you say?
I think just trust the process. If it's something that you generally are extremely passionate about, you know, if you eat, breathe and sleep, whatever it is that you want to do, and you've prayed on it and you've given it to God, then there's no reason why it shouldn't come to pass. So you just have to literally trust the process, even in those moments of doubt, in those moments of things not going according to plan. Just keep having tunnel vision and just keep going. And eventually everything will work out in the end anyway. So I feel like there's a lot of times where I was very dramatic in the beginning, like, oh my gosh, do you know what I mean? Just really dramatic. But it's like everything generally works out in the end anyway. So you can't even sweat the small stuff.
Thank you for sharing that. And those everyday micro things, you know, in not even in a year's time, sometimes in a week's time, you don't even remember them. So it's like, okay, how is this contributing and adding to, like you say, where I'm going, and having that focus and that mindset to keep going and going for your goals and going for your dreams, what you've been called to do. Thank you so much. Oh, I'm loving this. Pachala, over to you. What has been your biggest challenge in your journey so far? And how have you worked to overcome that?
The biggest challenge, I would say, was the mindset that most people think they don't need a cleaner or housekeeper. So it was a lot of my clients that did employ me, or their friends would give them aggro, would say, you don't need that, you know, you only work part-time, you don't need that help. But when the friends were able to see the difference that I was able to make in the household, most of my clients have been able to get new jobs. Most of my clients now have more time for themselves, and they're able to grow more because it's about focusing on things that stimulate you in life. I think I emphasize that a lot for my clients, to just have more of a headspace. That's what housekeeping is for. So, you know, it's growing where a lot of people that I wouldn't have known are seeing the benefits of having such a service, because it's a very stressful time. So if you're able to have an extra hour or 2 hours to yourself, not having to do skirting boards or things that are tedious, just get somebody to come in and make your life lighter. So that's I've had to show my skill at the same time, not ignore the ignorance, just show an example of the difference of before and after.
Love that. One, don't just get somebody and get Pachala in. Let's be specific. I love that. And I think, you know, actually how you've described your role and the impact that it makes on the individuals. So not just their homes. Yes, their homes are cleaner, but actually the impact that you're having on people's lives is actually, I think, might be a revelation for some people that are watching and thinking about what you do and that industry in a very different way. So thank you for sharing that. So I've got a question. I'll open it to any of you that want to answer first. You know, I know if not, we're gonna have to do the pick, but I would say popcorn, whoever wants to go. So someone said, having faith and money is not everyone's reality, unfortunately. what practical advice would you all give to someone who has this issue? So perhaps, it's not about the money or about the vape, it might be about the calling. So that's how I'm interpreting it. So what advice would you, practical advice, importantly, would you give to someone who has this issue? Does anyone want to pop first?
Sorry, can you read the question again, please?
Yes. Having faith in money is not everyone's reality, unfortunately. What practical advice would you all give to someone who has this issue? So I'm interpreting it as, they may have the favor, or they may not, but in terms of money might not be the end goal. So what practical advice would you encourage them with or to do in order to kind of keep moving towards their goal?
I'd say just follow your heart. Because when I started out, when I was doing laboring, obviously I was trying different things. Like I would paint. I was like, nah, that's not for me. I would do a bit of plumbing, like, nah, that's not for me. But when I actually started carpentry, started realizing that the love I had for it grew every day. And after that, my first job, the flooring I did, I think it was Matthew, I still remember, took me to Costco, and I literally bought like a bag load of tools. I spent about $1,000. That for me, doing that gave me peace. So that's how I knew I was going the right way.
No, I can't. Love that. I think peace plays a major part. I was listening to a podcast the other day, and one of the girls on there mentioned, she's like, we always focus on what we want success to look like, but actually, what does we want success to feel like? And I thought that was a really important way to think about it. So, Wale, with you mentioning there about that feeling of peace, I think will be really important for a lot of people to think about how do I want to feel in the work that I'm doing. I want to feel fulfilled, and all of you have demonstrated how fulfilled you are with the roles that you are doing. Does anyone else want to comment on that question? Pachala, I see. Go for it.
I also wanted to add, it's sometimes not about peace, it's about stimulation, what excites you. So for me, I literally just pushed myself into the housekeeping because it stimulates me, seeing the difference of products, chemicals, the changes that you're able to make. It's like an exciting project every single time. So sometimes, yes, peace, but also think about what really excites you. Take a step back, write down 5 things that you enjoy. And as he said, Wale said, doing the painting, saying no and trying different things out, really find that core thing that's really going to be stimulating you. Waking up so early in the morning, you're thinking, is this me? So peace and stimulation, I would say that's what motivates me the most.
Love that. Thank you. On that piece around waking up early in the morning, Gina, I have a question for you. A lot of people start personal training but do not stick to it. Sometimes it is the early mornings. My PT does 5 a.m. sessions. I said that's not for me. But what advice would you give to up and coming personal trainers around, sticking with it, really kind of pursuing it and making sure that they're consistent?
I think you have to identify why you're doing it. So again, this is even taking money out of the equation, because if I'm honest, if it was a money thing for me, I would have quit a very long time ago, because building your own business and brand and being in something like personal training, which is very dependent upon your client base, and obviously your clients are not always going to be consistent. People fall off, you might have a dry period. Like money wasn't my thing. It was more because I was very passionate, and also because I really liked helping people and seeing people achieve their goals and get the results they set out to achieve, and then I was part of the process, was very fulfilling for me. So those were the things that kind of kept me going when, you had like dry seasons, or, my client base wasn't picking up and stuff like that. So I think identify why you're doing what you're doing. And I think it's one of those careers that you have to really be passionate about, because remember, you're dealing with everybody, you're dealing with other people. So as much as you are self-employed and you work for yourself, technically you work for everybody else, because when people can have sessions is when you have to be there for them to have the sessions. Yeah. If it's a case of you wanting to go on holiday, you might get to that point where you're like, I don't want to go because I don't want to leave my clients hanging. So you kind of become dependent on your client base. So you have to be passionate about it. So if the passion isn't there, when it starts getting hard, or you get a few hurdles, you're just going to throw in the towel. So I'd say definitely figure out what your why is and go from there.
Yeah, I think that's really important. There's this thing called Ikigai. I think it's about Ikigai. It's all about finding your why. It's the overlapping of what are you good at, what do you really love doing, where are your strengths, and asking yourself why is a key part of that. Ask yourself why 5 times, I think, is the recommendation. What's my my personal brand statement? What do I want to do? Why do I want to do that? Why do I want to do it in that way? And really dig deep, and that can help you kind of really identify what that passion is and exactly that why you want to do it. So a question for all of you, there's some people who may have had a more difficult past, or they have feelings around whether they should go to university or not go to university. They may have had criminal convictions, and they think that actually a role in maybe one of your areas could be viable. So what advice would you give to those people who may have had a bit more of a struggle? It's not to diminish any struggles that you have all had, just to caveat, but they may have had a more difficult past and are finding it hard to find what's right for them. How would you advise them in terms of the industries that you're in? And I'll open it. We'll do popcorn again.
I'll go first.
Thank you, Gina.
When I was a probation officer, I was still doing fitness, and obviously my job required me to work with people that who'd come out of prison or was in the criminal justice system. And I was encouraging a lot of them to go down the fitness route, because essentially you are self-employed. I mean, there's different ways to go about it. So you can actually work for a gym and I guess be an employee, or you can work for yourself. And working for yourself, generally speaking, you won't really have any of those issues in regards to maybe someone who has a criminal record or someone who didn't go to university. Like, you just need a PT qualification, which you can get regardless of your background. So if you didn't go to university, that's fine. If you have got a criminal conviction, that's also fine as well. As long as you're working for yourself and you have all the right qualifications, there's no reason why you can't get into my industry anyway. So if there is anyone who is thinking about getting into it and has those kind of reservations, I would say you can still definitely achieve it and do it. And there's a lot of people I know that have come out of prison who have been able to create successful businesses, even from their background in my line of work.
Love that.
So, yeah.
Thank you so much. Wale and Pachalo, what would you say for your industries?
For mine, I would say you just need to be really transparent, and you need to embrace who you are. There's a lot of people out there that would want to hear and know that, what, I'm the same. So let's just say somebody that's had an injury, just basically put out there, I'm not able to do this. There'll be understanding, and you'd have a team behind you. And it would be nice for someone to know, what, somebody's coming to help me with my place and they want to be here and this is what they enjoy. So I think it's just about being transparent in your skill, in yourself, and really embracing who you are.
Okay, thank you. And it's good to hear that from these different industries that, the possibilities are there regardless of your background or your upbringing. And I think that's really important to highlight. Wale, what about for your industry?
I'd say you have to be willing to do the work. You have to be enthusiastic, willing to learn, be humble, because in my line of work, older builders, they would easily shun you and not teach you anything because of your attitude. Do you understand? And the reason why I've been able to come this far is because I always make it a thing to listen to people that are more qualified, even people that are not as qualified as myself. I'm still able to listen to them, because good ideas or doing something a different way can come from anyone. So you really have to have that humility and enthusiasm, like I said, just to grow, and those who take you far. Yeah.
Love that. Thank you so much. So we've got about 20 or so minutes left with our panel. So again, I'm going to do a push for questions. I can still see loads coming through, particularly for our YouTube fans, because I know you're sometimes a little bit behind in terms of time. So do get your questions in. I want to ask each of you, what are you most proud of? You know, you've all had some major achievements, partnerships, massive £1 million projects, but for you personally, what are you most proud of? And again, any order, whoever wants to jump in first.
Okay,
Ladies first.
Thank you.
Okay, no worries. Mine's quite short because I believe my journey is pretty much at its beginning stage. But what I'm most proud of is my organic growth, because I haven't yet actually advertised my services online, and I'm already booked for the whole year. And I'm looking to employ people and train. So it's just literally knowing that this is something that I enjoy and I'm seeing results from it.
Love that. Thank you so much. Wale, do you want to jump in next?
Yeah, I'm most proud of the fact that, you know, it allows me to be a blessing unto people, and also being able to do stuff in my own house. You know, whatever I do in my house, I don't have to pay for labor. I just kind of just get the materials, and plus I get it cheaper as well because I have my contacts there.
Yeah.
Yeah, it just gives me a certain level of fulfillment, you know, just being able to do stuff in my house. Yeah, and just being a blessing to people. Because one thing I realized about me, I just try and do my little best to make sure other people are taken care of. So yeah, that's given me the opportunity to do that.
Love that. Thank you so much, Wale. Gina, what about for yourself? What are you most proud of?
I think just coming this far, because I never thought it would. It's not like I didn't think I'd get here, but it's surreal being here, if that makes sense. So in December, I managed to one of the campaigns I did with Gymshark was like a billboard for their new store coming out in July. So I'm on a billboard in Regent Street, which is mind blowing to me because like it just those things don't happen. So when it got released, I wasn't in the country. So when I came back to London and I went to view it, it was so surreal because I was like, that's my face. And it's like it's so encouraging for any other Black girl out there who's trying who just is questioning their existence in whatever space they're in. Because I'm not gonna lie, when I first started, I always used to, you know, I've heard so many things from different brands about being Black, being dark skinned, like, and those are things that obviously impacted my confidence in the whole imposter syndrome stuff. So to kind of beat the odds and be in the space that I'm in, it's amazing because I'm not even thinking about me, it's about everybody after me who's wanting to go on this journey and is seeing that and seeing that, do you know what, if Gina, and again, I'm nothing special, I'm just Gina. So if I can do it, then if I can do it, then why can't anybody else, if that makes sense? So I love the fact that I'm being used as, I guess, a vessel for others.
I can attest, and I'm doing this. I've done this in fangirling a little bit, but you truly are an inspiration for many Black women, for people across the community. Seriously, with the collaborations that you do and the way that you do it. So you are very special. I'm gonna correct you there. You're very special. So yeah, thank you all for sharing what you're most proud of. I think it's really important for people to identify with and understand a bit deeper into your roles. And also what I love about what each of you shared is, again, the impact you've made on other people and that you will continue to make on other people. It's not necessarily about the numbers. And I think that's really key for people to understand. So we've got a few individual questions coming to each of you from our viewers, which is amazing. So Pachalo, this is for you. Many people love cleaning but do not like the perception of being a cleaner. What advice would you give to change that mindset?
I believe you literally just have to step in and show the difference and the results in the quality of life. Yes, 100% people are thinking, oh, you're a cleaner, you don't make much, but it's actually quite a lot of money you actually do make because of the level of skill set. So there's things like deep cleans, and there's move out cleans, there's end of tenancy, there's decluttering. So there's so many different ways of you financially being able to bring your skill out there and actually get paid 30 to 50 pounds an hour, depending. Regular cleans, they would be like 15, but if you think about per day, per client, you're actually quite good, and you've got the rest of your day as well. So just literally stepping in and trying it out. And obviously I'll leave my contact details. You can message me
Yes.
for anything more. I'm
We'll be
looking to
doing the
employ.
social plug. We will be doing that, definitely. Actually, before I jump into the next question for one of you, there's actually a question here that's open for all of you, which is, how do you build the confidence to start charging what you believe you're worth? Because people love to take advantage. And I know you've all touched on it a little bit, but what people want to know, how did you add the zero? What pushed you to add that extra zero on the end and make sure that people charge you for what you're worth?
I would say when I first started out, I just done research of my local area, but because of the growth and demand and the skill set that I have grown into, I have to increase how much I'm charging, just because you get a certain level of clean and so much attention to detail that you receive. It's not going to be like any regular. I've been compared to other cleaning companies, and unfortunately I have gone way higher in standards. So yeah, reputation, I think that's the thing that helped me increase my price.
Definitely. Thank you. Yes, reputation is so key. Like I think I mentioned before, those relationships and how people connect with you. It's not just about the perceptions. I think it's the connection that plays a major part as well. Wale, what about you? How did you build the confidence to start charging what you're worth?
It was through talking to people, like Gina said, and some of my builder friends, they would just point me out like, you shouldn't be charging this, and they will constantly tell me like, you need to believe in your source because you've actually got an extensive amount of skills that people should be paying for, and don't be scared to walk away. Like once they start offering you peanuts, do you understand? Don't feel like you have to take it. And I think it's just me constantly thinking, okay, yeah, I'm Wale, I'm a carpenter, I've got this amount of years of experience, so I have to start demanding the price I'm worth. And some people would say, oh, but you it didn't take you long to do this. You did this, it was quick. How can you charge X amount for a little amount of time? And I say to them, it's about the experience,
100%.
it's about the quality. I could easily just faff about, or you could get someone cheaper to do it. And then you're going to have to call me to uninstall it and do it again, which will cost you double the money. So, I just had to just believe in my skills and my source.
Believe in your hashtag believe in your source. Put the WT at the end so we can be specific. Gina, you spoke obviously earlier about kind of your agent helping you and supporting you with your rate card and being able to turn things down. How, I guess, when you have those things where you will have to turn them down or negotiate, what's that process like for you? How do you make that decision? Is it as simple as, oh, it has to be this number, or are there other things that come into the mix?
Do you know what? I'm very big on feeling and how I feel about something. So if it's brand work, generally what happens is a brand will reach out to you and give you like the deliverables and the brief, and then ask you what you would charge for that job. So if you've given me the job spec, I'm then going to tell you obviously what I think the job is worth, right? So once I've done that, if what you're quoting me is nowhere even near what I think it's worth, then I literally just go based on feeling. And I say this because I've got a quick story. So last year I got approached by a brand, which is it's an international global brand, and they're huge. And they wanted to work with me for a year, have a year's contract, which was amazing because at that time I didn't have like a long-term contract with anybody. So I was just like, this is great, this will be residual income. They sent me the deliverables and asked me what I would charge for the year. And one of the main things they were talking about was they wanted exclusivity for the year though. So I wouldn't be able to work with anybody else in even linked. And the thing is, the list of brands they gave me that I couldn't work with was so, it wasn't just fitness brands, it was like even like fitness tech companies. And so it was a very big list of names that I couldn't work with.
Yeah.
So in order for me to kind of want to do that, you're gonna obviously have to pay quite a decent amount. And with them being such a global brand, I thought what I was asking for wasn't out of reach. So I asked, we went to them, approached them with an offer. They literally slashed the offer in half. And then not even in half, because they slashed the offer in half and then converted it to dollars. And was like,
no. So now we're going to be getting international fees.
Yeah,
no.
We can only pay you in dollars. And I was just like, I beg your pardon. Like, firstly, you're not even giving me what I asked for, but then you slashed it in half, and then you're telling me this is in dollars. This isn't going to work.
Math is not mathing.
No, it wasn't. And then, but it was annoying because it was such a massive brand. So I was thinking opportunity. And not always money. And I thought, if I do get to work with these people, it'll be amazing because they are a global brand, they are international, and the opportunities I'm probably going to get are probably going to outweigh the money. But in my heart, I wasn't happy. I wasn't excited. I just felt so demotivated. I wasn't happy about the whole situation. So I prayed on it, and I said, you know what? God, if I'm meant to do this job, I left it for the weekend, so we were still negotiating. I said, if I'm meant to do this job, when they come back to me next week, the number they're going to come back with is going to be more closer to what I want. And even if it's not the number I want, it's going to be closer. So at least that way, I'll feel better about it. And if it doesn't work out that way, then I'm just not going to do it. So they came back and they weren't budging. So in my head, it was like, well, God's spoken. Right. I'm not meant to do this job. So I didn't take it. But then after that, I kind of, when you have that feeling of a slight regret, like, should I have taken it?
Yeah.
Have I fumbled the bag? So I went through that for a bit. But then, a couple months, like 6 months later, I landed a job that paid me what they were offering with one job. So they were asking for like a year's contract, and I managed to get that on one job. So it was like, so I was like, imagine I locked myself into that contract. I wouldn't have been able to do this one. So for me, I literally I'm big on intuition, how I feel, and the confidence of knowing what I'm worth. Yeah, and that's definitely helped me. And it's something that I'm definitely going to continue to practice moving forward.
I love that. Sometimes Jesus will say yes, and sometimes he won't say no, but he won't speak. You won't, and you have to. Again, it's around having that discernment to know, okay, what is for me is for me, and what isn't for me at this particular time. So it will always come back. The right thing will always come back to you. On that experience, so you've shared, actually, Gina, I'll stick with you. You've shared a little bit around, different contracts and partnerships. In terms of, I guess, your income, obviously don't need to tell us numbers as such, but in terms of your sources of income in regards to PT versus partnerships, what is the split or breakdown like? If someone was to kind of go down a similar route to yourself, what would the breakdown look like?
I think so. When I first started, I also did meal prep there. So I had like a meal prep company where I was cooking people's healthy meals. Mm-hmm. So when I first started, I'd say the majority of my income came from the food, to be honest with you. Like I made a lot of money prepping people's meals, because at the time, again, there wasn't a lot of meal prep companies, and being Black and cooking like food that our community liked and enjoyed was like a big thing. So I made a lot of I'd say I made most of my income, I'd say, was 70% food, 30% fitness. And then now I haven't done personal training since last year, and I've just been, I guess, traveling the world and living abroad. But it's because I do everything online now. So I don't do PT in its traditional sense anymore. So I do online coaching and online classes. So it's basically due to the pandemic, to be fair. So since the pandemic happened, my whole business infrastructure changed, and I realized that the way we're kind of moving forward in life, the face-to-face stuff isn't always going to be viable. So I kind of switched everything to being online, and it's amazing because I can be anywhere in the world. All I need is internet connection, and I can just train people online. So now I'd say, but then now also I have brand work. So I wouldn't say 50-50, because brand work isn't always consistent. Like I have a few long-term contracts, and then I have like random sporadic jobs that I get. So I'd probably say for now it's like 60% online coaching and the online stuff, and then 40% the brand work.
Awesome, thank you. And that online coaching is having to pivot, during, Pachala, you've had to pivot, Jeannie, you've pivoted as well during the pandemic. Again, it's all about that confidence and how do you best utilize your skills. So it's really awesome to see how you've both done that. While I'm going to come to you, you've got lots of questions, so I hope you're ready. So the first one is, how did you go from a carpenter and labourer to overseeing £1 million projects? So what was the time in terms of that transition? And what has that journey been like for you?
It's been a gradual process.
Mm-hmm.
So, for example, whilst I was a carpenter, I'd help Holla do quotes just to kind of ease the pressure on him and kind of learn as well. Do you understand? So I bought an iPad just so I could do that. So I'll do things like buy materials for the guys on site. If he's busy, I'll try and schedule some meetings and all those things. So it was a very gradual process. So I didn't even know how much I was learning through the process. It's only became apparent now that I'm managing projects that I'm like, right, actually, I learned quite a lot, because even though my purpose of doing it was to kind of help facilitate and smoothing things out, it's actually really helped in my role that I'm at now. And in terms of time frame, I'd say probably about 5 years, I'd say. Yeah, that's just an estimate. But with everyone, things are different. With mine, there are circumstances like, for example, my boss being really open to me helping. Do you understand? And also other people really open to giving me figures, and suppliers really warming up to me. So those do play a lot of factors in helping your growth. Yeah.
Definitely. Thank you so much. And obviously, maybe not obviously, the role you're in now is more of a project manager role. So actually, you've gone from, like, say, labourer, carpenter, to actually now you're managing these £1 million projects. And someone asked, with no experience in project management, but wanting to be a project manager in constructions, what steps should they take? And are there any kind of recommendations or websites you would encourage them to use to apply for these kind of project management roles?
There are some websites I looked at, but I'm sorry, I can't remember the name of the websites. But if you type in construction project manager on Google, it will bring them up, and then you can now select. They do have online courses going for about, I'd say about £600 for, I think, 6 weeks or 8 weeks. Yeah, you can do that. And you might want to take refresher courses in, like, carpentry, because the building base of any construction project is carpentry, because the plumber needs the carpenter, the plasterer, in some cases, if there are stud walls, and stud walls are like timber framed walls, and ceilings, if they are to be made there, the plasterer needs those, the electrician needs those. Yeah, so you might want to take a refresher course in carpentry, just so you know what people are talking about when they're talking to you, and you know how to manage things.
That's really great advice. And for the person that asked that question, perhaps email the WTXL team, wtxl@gmail.com, and Wale, we can connect you with that person perhaps, and to share some of those websites. I know I'll put you on the spot there. So we're gonna start wrapping up soon. So I want to ask one final question to all of you, and this is the cue for those that are online to ask your final questions as well. What advice, and some of you have touched on it a little bit already, but if you could give one final piece of advice for those who are considering a non-traditional route into your industries or other industries that aren't necessarily the 9 to 5, what piece of advice would you give them? So, Pachala, go for it, Wale. Sorry, guys first.
I'd say, I think I already touched on it, like you mentioned. I'd say just go out there, step into it, be willing to learn, because all these things, you only get better at it by learning and also watching people. So the enthusiasm, the hard work, the humility, and good nature as well goes far. Like just being nice to people, because when you're nice to people, they're always gonna want to help you and make sure you exceed your goals. Yeah, that's what I'd say. Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Wale. Pachalo, over to you.
Okay, thank you. So what I would say is to walk light. And what I mean by walking light is just taking it easy, one step at a time, and just literally having clarification of what you enjoy. And it would literally just shine in your face, and you would know you're walking into a nice situation. And because you're walking light, you're not heavy on your feet and forcing yourself to be somewhere where you don't want to be, like the wrong room. Because that will take a lot of your time. So walking light sometimes does really help you.
Love that. Thank you so much. And Gina, over to you.
I think we're in a really good position right now. Like I feel like the state of the world that we're in, we've seen so many people become successful from not going down traditional routes. I feel like with the younger generation, they're so lucky because they have so many people that they can refer to who they've seen do crazy things, like YouTubers. You know, people can become a YouTuber and buy a house and completely change their lives just from being themselves. So I feel like if there is something that you are extremely passionate about and you know you really want to do it, I feel like just go for it. Like we're literally in an era where the traditional route isn't the route that everyone's going down. So it doesn't harm you from trying to be different. And also it's about doing what you love and what you enjoy. I think someone wrote in the comments about they wish they kind of pursued what they wanted to pursue when they were younger because their parents didn't think it was something that women did. And that's the thing, like it's about having peace and being happy with what it is that you're doing rather than living for, let's say, society or what everybody else tells you you should be doing. So if you are passionate about something, I'd say just literally go for it.
Love that. Thank you so much to all of you for your time today. Right before I get you to plug your socials, your businesses, and most importantly, one final question that someone sneaked in just in time. Do you feel that you have more freedom? I know, Pachala, you said yes, but earlier you talked about that freedom. Wale, what about for yourself?
In my role, I'd say I do have a bit of freedom in the sense that I'm in control of my time. So I'm the one managing the projects. I'm the one responsible for getting the jobs, getting the guys to do it. So in that sense, I do have freedom. But most of the time when I get home, I have to work on quotes, sort out the website, social media, just things that don't have to do with building. So yeah, just I would say, yeah, a bit of freedom, yeah.
Cool. And Gina, for yourself, well, Gina, you were saying you were traveling, living your best life. We love it.
Honestly, I feel like I'm living my dream, if I'm being honest with you, because this year so far, I've been in Ghana, Nigeria, Dubai, South Africa, and that's because I've managed to build a business that allows me to be anywhere in the world and I can sustain myself regardless of where I am. So for me, freedom is everything. Like the fact that I can wake up when I want to wake up, I can have sessions when I want to have sessions. I literally am in control of everything around me. That's something that I honestly think you can't even put a price on, to be honest. So I definitely have a lot more freedom and I can't see myself ever going back to a 9 to 5, if I'm honest with you. And I think that's one of the reasons why, even in the beginning, when I first started and it was hard, like financially, it wasn't doing as great as I thought. I kept saying, I can't go back to someone telling me when I can have my lunch break. I can't do it. So it was, I couldn't go back to it. So yeah, this is me forever, to be honest.
Love that. Love that. I'm going to get each of you to plug your businesses and our wonderful moderators are going to post any links in the chat. So Pachalo, go to you first. Tell us about the name of your business, if you've got your website set up and everything like that. Tell us all those details. I know you haven't had to advertise just yet, but if someone's watching, and we know you're booked and busy, but if someone's watching, they want to sneak in, what can they do to connect with you and get in contact with you?
Yes, as you mentioned, it has literally been only organic growth. Business point of view, people get their invoices and everything's done professionally, but I have kept everything internal. So to get a hold of me, I'll leave my number. You can just drop me a message or a WhatsApp, and then correspondence will be done through there.
Awesome. Thank you very much. Wale, over to you. If someone has some millions of pounds or smaller, how can they get in contact with you and the work that you do?
I'll drop my number, and you can reach me via that, or you can go on the website. There's a contact page. The website is www.kcportman.com, or our Instagram is @kcportman. And what we do, we renovate houses, flats, in Fulham, in Dalston, in Hackney, wherever, no job is too small, even if it's hanging a curtain pole. No job is too small. Every little helps. And we have a team of builders. We have, I've got painters, tilers, electricians, plumbers,
Awesome.
even bricklayers. So yeah, if you need anything done, let me know.
Love that. And we spoke about Uncle Collar quite a bit. He's features on the Instagram page I saw when they were on Homes Under the Hammer. So definitely check out. You can see Uncle Collar many years ago. Gina, over to you. Tell us a bit about how we can get in contact with you and your business.
So on social media, my handle is @just_Jean, which is GEEN. And then my website, I've got two. So one is justjean.com and one is justjeanonline.com. So justjean.com is for things like the products that I sell. So I've got like resistance bands, bottles. I've got a healthy Afro-Caribbean ebook if anyone is interested in purchasing that. So it gives you like healthy alternatives to like traditional foods. And my classes are on there. And then the Just Jean Online is online coaching. So if you want one-to-one in regards to being coached and being given like a tailored diet program or training program with accountability and support, that's that as well. And then if you just want fitness content and to have a laugh, Instagram, which is @JustJean.
Love that. Thank you all so much for your time this evening and for just giving us those insights, the knowledge, tips, advice for those that are out there who may not have considered careers in your industry or are on the road to considering careers in these non-traditional 9-to-5 industries where people don't tell you what time to have your lunch, like Gina mentioned. But thank you all so much. I'm going to run through announcements now, and for those of you that are still here, please feel free to connect with each of our panelists as their socials and their business pages are posted in the chat. So just a few quick announcements. Thank you everyone for joining us this evening. This Sunday is Mother's Day, so we'd really encourage all the mothers to come into church on Sunday. There's a special service planned, so bring your mums into church on Sunday. And also remember that clocks go forward next week by 1 hour, so don't be late. I know iPhone crew, our phone automatically does it. I can't speak on behalf of Android crew, but I'm sure it does as well. We have our fantastic volunteers team, so if you have been in the church for a while or have just joined the church, or you're part of the WT family and you would like to join a team, please get in contact with our volunteers team. It's a great way to go on some of the teams, see what it's like, and you can access that by emailing volunteers@worshiptabernacle.org.uk. Please email them and they will kind of get you in contact with the different leaders and their departments. If you'd like to give today, you can do so via the app or our website, or if you're on YouTube, if you click the description box, there's a link in there. And for those that do give, please remember that you need to put your full name as part of the gift aid scheme set up by the government. So for every £1 donated, the government give us 25p if you're a UK taxpayer. So please ensure you complete the online gift aid declaration form. It's on the website. And again, make sure you put your full name, not your Instagram handle, not your initials. We need the full government name. And if you completed the gift aid form a long time ago, please still complete it again, just so we can ensure that it is up to date. Finally, the WT app. We are always plugging our WT app. It's amazing. You can watch the service, you can take notes, you can watch previous sermons as well. So make sure you download it from the App Store or the Google Play Store. Finally, I keep saying finally, it's two things. One, for our mailing list membership, please head over to the app, which I just mentioned, the website, or the link tree on Instagram, or the description box on YouTube. You'll find all the relevant links. And this is the finally. Please remember to like and share this video and follow us on social media. Share this with your friends, family, people who are thinking about going into a non-career. It might be a colleague, you never know. It can be really beneficial. I've had a really lovely time talking to our amazing panelists, and it's been so insightful, and I'm sure it has been for all of you too. So do share this with people that you know, so that they can also, find that freedom, have that stability, and also do what they're called to do. So thank you everyone for joining today, and wishing everyone a really good evening. Take care, everyone.